Din habeir b'Shabbos aboi choftes sifim. Habeir ume aves malachis. Beir is from one of the lamites aves malachis, not a tilde, it's an av. Means that those 39 malachis are actually in the Mishkan. She came in Mishkan, or you baited him apsailis mitoich hasamanim. In the Mishkan, they would take out the psailis, remove the psailis, the bad, mitoich hasamanim, the bad parts from the samamanim, from the dyes that they were making, cooking for the Mishkan. There were certain parts that weren't good; they had to be taken out. The ficha therefore call habayder. This is considered malacha. The ficha call habayder psailis mitoicheichel. Anyone who takes out psailis, removes the bad from the oichel. Afil b'yadeachas, even if he does it with one hand, which usually when someone does it with one hand, maybe it can be considered a shinoi. A change is not, it's abnormal, not the normal way doing the malacha. But in this case, it's not that way. Even if you do it to eat immediately, so I'm sort of like I'm doing it to eat. It's not a malacha. Still, in all, you're chayev if you did this. You're chayev meaning it's an ism and hatoida of beider. Avol. Simin Shin Yutas.
Shin?
The page is Taf Kuf Mem Aleph.
When the Alter Rebbe writes by Chiluk Kedei Alter, it's a big deal.
Taf Kuf Mem Aleph.
Because other opinion says if you just want to eat it, you could, because you're eating the good.
We're going to see soon.
We were talking about take the bad from the good.
Here's the bad from the good, yeah.
To eat.
To eat the bad.
No, we're not eating the bad.
I have good and bad, and I want to eat the good, right? I'm not taking out the bad. I'm just taking the good to eat later.
That's good. That's okay. But here you're doing the psailis. Kol ha'beir psailis mitoicha oichel. You take out
the bad
one.
The bad one. What? To eat the good or to eat the psailis?
To eat the good. So you want to remove the psailis. You have a bunch of shells and nuts mixed together. The shells all over. You can't eat the nuts.
Right.
The shells. So you want to eat the nuts. You take out the shells, the peanut shells.
To eat the nuts right now.
To eat the nuts. Yeah. That's what he says the altar. If you look at the altar, it's still chay. Avol, the top of page talk with Mala. Avol habeir oichel miteicha psailis. If you take out the oichel miteicha psailis. Amen. If you take out the food, the good part that you want to eat, from the bad part, kedei lechel altar, in order to eat it right away, and you're not chayev, that's mutter. Because you have oichel miteicha psailis and kedei lechel altar. Elam kain, however, there is a case when even if you do that, you're taking the good from the bad, the oichel miteicha psailis, and it's la'altar to do it right away, you could still be chayev. When? When you don't do it with your hand. Elam kain boider benafa ikvare. Unless you use a sifter. A sifter is a special keli which is miyuchet for breida. If you use that keli, even though you're doing it to eat right away, and you take the oichel out, still a problem.
But בסופו של דבר, when you have the pot here, and you have the bad and the good, in the end, it's the good is in your mouth. What's different if I take first the bad one or the good one? What's the sof maaseh put in my mouth? And that's what I was looking for. Why the Chachamim looking, you borrow, you take the bad, first the good. In the end, what you do, you take the good and put in your mouth. Doesn't make difference for me.
The ending result is the same. The ending result is the same.
This is what I'm saying.
It's true. But the question is if it's derech melacha or derech beir. Derech melacha, derech. You're right. It's over here. It's a little
different.
Make
any difference? It's different. I don't think so. No, in the end, I'm taking what I want to take.
Enechanami. It's a good point. It's different than other malachas. It's a good point. We have to see other malachas.
It's make it harder for us.
That was the nice beir in the Mishnah. Maybe that's what comes out here. It's like fire. There's no way to be matter fire, even if it's for achila. But that was the nice.
Right. This is what was done in the Mishkan. Enechanami, the teitzah is the same teitzah. But this is if you do it in the oifen of a derech malacha, it's a problem. Derech achila, it's mutter. What constitutes derech achila? You eat it, take the oichel, not the psailis away. You do it la'alter, and you don't use a keli. That's what he says. Ein echayev and l'kim boyda benafa ikvara. The second line. Shezeu derech beirasi. That's the derech, the way you do boider, meaning as a malacha, not as a chila. When someone eats, you don't use a keli. Maybe when you make something in not when you're in your house, on your table, you don't use a keli. Avon bider bekinoin oitam choy patim na toida. Will also do from gzeinu shenafakor. There are different types of kelim. If you're using the formal kelim for bider, which is a sifter, then it's also minatoida.
Sifter, I understand, is melacha. You're sifting. That's 100%. Whatever it is, you're not allowed to do that. It's melacha. But the rest, if I take the good or the bad in my hand.
Listen to them.
By the way, listen. Somebody Shainim hold like you hold, by the way. You're not a lone opinion. Somebody Shainim hold that whether you go take the oichel from the psais and the oichel, both are going to be mutter. They're both mutter if you do it right away.
If you eat it right away.
Eat it right away with a keli. La halacha is not that way. Halacha is not that way. But there is some Shainim, and when certain situations, we can add that on as a sniff to maybe be mekel in certain cases if you have another reason to be mekel. But that's not the halacha, l'maisa. Now, it has to do with how we read the Gemara in Shabbos. This is based on a Gemara in Shabbos, Perek Gadol, and it depends how you learn that Gemara. That's what the machlekes Rishonim is. What does it mean, k'noin tamchi? K'noin is a funnel. If you put it through a funnel, so certain pieces go to the bottom, go through the funnel, and certain pieces stick on the bottom. Let's say the rocks will go down to the bottom, the pieces of the dirt, and the straw, whatever else you have, they will be on the top. Or tamchi means a large plate. You put it on a large plate, and when you put in the large plate, so the heavy things go to the bottom, you can shake it around, and the lighter things on the top. Now, those are not normal, regular kalim, which I use for baiter. Therefore, one did it, it's not your potem in Torah, but it's also midrabanan, midivisay. But if you use a nafa akvara, which means a formal sifter, which is a klei breida, even though you're doing it oichel mitoich hapsailis, you're taking the food from the bad, as well you're eating it right away, it's chayav.
It's what? It's
You're chayav.
You have a sin.
V'im baiter ha'oichel kedei lechol alter mutter. The fourth line.
Biyodo.
If you baiter ha'oichel biyadi lechol alter mutter. If you take the food biyadi, eat it right away, it's mutter. Now, so just cap. We're going to see the reasons now, but let's just see the halacha l'maisa. There's three conditions in order for baiter to be mutter. You need to do it biyad, with your hand, not with a keli. Miyad, right away.
Yad miyad.
And oichel mitoich hapseilis.
and what?
Take the good from the bad on Shabbos.
Not the bad from the good from the bad.
Right.
Different.
So you need good from the bad. Oichel mitoich hapseilis is one. You need to do it for
Bayad
eating
and
it.
biyad.
Do it with your hands, not with a keli. Biyad, not with a special sifter. And miyad, right away. The Gemara's lashon over here is la'alter, but same thing as miyad. Do it
Right.
right away.
What do they mean by right away?
We're going to talk about that soon.
No, what,
But you
10
have to
minutes,
define
15
it more.
minutes right away?
You have to define exactly what does it mean right away. Now, what's the reason why taking oichel from the psailos is mutter? Like you're bringing up that it's the same thing. What am I doing? Nipnei says in the fourth line, "Shenetila sa oichel mitoich hapsailos, kidei la'ochel miyad ein ze me'ein malacha klal, shederech achila kachu." That's the way you eat. How do you eat? You take the food, put it in your mouth. You're going to say, I'm doing a malacha here? You're right that I actually cleaned out the psailis. But how do I view it? Do I view it that I cleaned this pile here? Or do I look at it and eat? I'm taking something and putting it in my mouth. I'm just picking up from my plate and putting it in my mouth. I'm going to say that I'm trying to bury this plate? No. However, if I take out the psailis, I'm taking it and putting it on the side. I'm not doing a form of eating. I'm preparing it to be eaten. But I'm not eating. It's a hachana to eat. So you're right, the ending results the same, but the question is, what am I doing right now? If I'm taking the food and putting it in my mouth, what are we going to term what I just did? We're going to term it eating. That's how you eat. But if I'm going to say I'm leaving it on the table, the oichel, I'm going to take all the psailis away, so what happens? What I took away in my hand is not what I'm eating. It's the psailis, what I don't want.
And it's not miyad.
And I'm leaving it here. Let's say you're doing it right away. to eat right away, right now. But I'm leaving this on the table, the oichel. So then, I'm not putting it directly in my mouth. It's not a derech achila.
The hefsek, little hefsek.
It's
Sfardi making, I was just thinking about Sfardi making chont and Shabbos, you put egg inside. Right? And when you want to eat the egg, you have to take out the psoilis.
The shell.
We'll talk about it.
Here we take out the psoilis first and then you eat. You don't eat without taking out the psoilis. And they do it. I mean, there's a halacha that...
What, taking out the shell?
They took out the egg from the chont.
המרוקאים עושים תמיד עם ביצה.
And then they took out the shell and then eat. So you take out...
Let me ask you, what about a banana?
How you eat banana? You take out the psoilis first.
So we're going to talk about this one. How do we eat bananas? How about
The
nuts?
same thing.
Peanuts?
Same thing.
Orange?
It's not hard.
Apple? We have
We
to
don't eat peanuts on Shabbos.
orange, bananas. So we have to talk about all of these dinim. It's very negir, because over there, you're right. Seemingly, you're taking the psoilus, like by the eggs, you're taking the psoilus,
In
and
order
not...
to eat it.
Right? So we have to talk about it.
And it's delicious. Hot eggs from the
Watermelon.
chula.
We don't eat
I
any...
separate in the mouth.
We're going to talk...
We don't eat all this stuff, Chabad.
לא, אבל אני שואל, אתה
לא,
מפריד אותו
watermelon.
בתוך הפה, את ה...
We'll talk about it soon.
Okay.
גרעיני אבטיח, אתה מפריד את הלכלוכים בתוך הפה, אתה לא מפריד את זה חיצוני.
Right, Chabad don't...
לא, אני שואל, באופן כללי, כאילו,
אז הוא
ההפרדה
מותר.
נמצאת בתוך הפה.
It doesn't say anything about it. We'll see
Feels
soon.
as a mutak.
אתה לוקח אותו ישר, אתה שם אותו בפה, ואתה עושה את ההפרדה בפה, ואז אתה מוציא את ה...
Sharei EF shelechel hakoil oichel hapsoilus. What's the reason why you're allowed to eat the oichel from the psoilus? Because you can't eat everything, the oichel and the psoilus. The Torah only made it usher to do with the unique, the special keli that is meant for it, for boider. Abonatilas hapsoilus, someone removes the psoilus. Ein zu derech achila. It's not eating. Al derech tikon ha'oichel. You're preparing the food. Sheiroi la'achila. Harezu malacha gemora. It's an actual malacha in the Torah. Alafichach, and therefore afila ma'oicha maruba says. Here comes a chiddush. There's a machlokes Rishonim about this. What happens if you have more oichel than psoilus? You have a pile, and there's, let's say, 75% of the pile is food, and 25% is psoilus, negative things that you don't want to eat. Bones, shells, whatever it might be. Now, you would think, in this case, where the oichel is merubal psoilus, what would be the way of eating it? Take away the psoilus, because it's much less, and the oichel takes less time. Take away the psoilus, and that should be mutter. We say, no, that's still considered boider. Efilo ma'oichel merubal psoilus. And there's more trouble, it's more tircha, more bothersome to take away the oichel. Afa became still nola yivra hapsoilas. Don't remove the psoilas. Hafilu k'delech halal to even to eat it immediately. Now this is a machlokes Rishonim. Not all Rishonim hold this way. However, majority of Rishonim hold this way. This is a din which is brought in Gemara Beya, which discusses Hilchas Yom Tiv. And the Mishnah and the Gemara there explains that on over there it's talking about Yom Tiv, but it doesn't say the whole Masechta is talking about Yom Tiv. But the din over there says that if you have oichel merubal psoilus, is more oichel good and bad, you're allowed to take the bad. Beis Hillel says by the kedarka you're allowed to take the bad. So the shaila is that a din only by Yom Tiv? Yom Tiv more makel because we're allowed to do cooking and preparing food things, oichel nefesh on Yom Tiv, or is it also Shabbos? So some shittas hold Shabbos and Yom Tiv the same. This din, even though it's said by Yom Tiv, it's the same din by Shabbos as well. Other Rishonim say no. That's a din, a special kula that we're makel by Yom Tiv. But on Shabbos, even if the oichel is more than the psoilus, anytime you take the psoilus in your hand and you're not putting it in your mouth, it means you're taking something, not to put it in your mouth, just to put away, take it away, it's a problem. And that's the halacha l'maisa. He doesn't say you're chayiv if you do it that way, because some Rishonim are matter it, but he says, still in all, that's not the halacha. We paskin that you should not do it. The Yibra Hapsoilus Shulchan Aruch says, the Yibra Hapsoilus Halalter. So anytime you're taking the psoilus, so that's going to lead us to the question that everyone's asking about the orange peels and
Banana.
Any food
Banana.
that you cannot eat without taking off the pselis.
שמוליק, בחמין אתה שם...
You're losing the one
צמות,
extra
נכון?
bat.
יש
So,
שם עצמות?
Sure.
העצם הוא הרבה יותר...
so Mitzvah Hashem, after Sifhei, we're going to talk about. We're going to talk after Sifhei. We're going to talk about the. We'll talk about the peels, the clippers. V'chein haboider, it's not included in Shulchan Aruch, but we'll talk about outside. V'chein haboider oichel metech sif beis, haboider oichel metech hapseila shelechel alta lenichi lechli. Lachar zman, so too, even if someone took out the oichel metech hapseilas, and he did it biyad with his hand, without a keli. But the problem is, what did he do it? Not la'alter, la'nichi la'ochel lachar zman. He did it for later on. I know in a few hours from now I want to eat. I want to get prepared early. I like to be musudar. So I'm going to get ready in the morning for something. I'm going to get ready at 10 o'clock in the morning for my shalosh shudas. I'm getting ready for the shalosh shudas. So the halacha is nasa keboider lo'itzer v'chayiv. It's as if you are putting it away in a storage. You're not doing it for achila purposes. It's for a malacha, like you're and preparing something to put it away in bags and to store it. And the halacha is yechayev. V'shayich kan lo mederach achila kachu kivshena eichalat. If you don't eat it right away, it's not considered derech achila.
Question. The Iraqi
Yeah.
special event, my mother Aliyah Shalom, she used to make, when I come from the army, she make, because of me, each kid, special, she take the skin of the chicken, she put inside the chicken that you like plus rice, she close it, she sew it, and she put it in the oven the whole night, like a tuna. And then each one, she knows, I like this, she give me my part, I have to open it. I never thought about it. You like, I don't need the skin.
So that's the same thing by any time. This question is a good question, but it's the same question as
Well,
every
ochen
time you
skin.
eat.
Yeah, but ochel mit der ochel.
Every time you eat a piece of chicken, people give you a piece of chicken has skin. You have to peel it, and it's also like the peel question. The peels of the
You take
fruits.
off the skin.
Peels of the fruits. The same question. Similar question.
And the bones.
No way, no wonder. I
לא,
was waiting for it when I
Sif
got
Gimel. I'm going to wait till after Sif Hey. Because we have to learn something in Sif Dalid, Sif Hey, that will help us understand this. Sif Gimel. What does it mean, oichel alter, to meet it? Right, a second later, a minute later, what's the shear? What is the shear? Sif Gimel. Eine kar la'alta, a samach, l'suda mamish. Right before the meal. If you're not going to eat till a later point, over here, Shah, some people say means literally an hour. That you have an hour, has to be less than an hour to bury it. But really, it doesn't mean over here an hour. It just means sometimes in Shas, in Shulchan Aruch, it doesn't mean Shah, it doesn't mean literally an hour. It means time. If you're planning on eating it after some time, it's usher to do it. He doesn't say Yechayev because there are shittas which are make on a larger amount of time. But he says it's usher. Achkol shu samach l'suda. Any time that it's right near the meal. So the person should not think, what happens if you're having a meal? It's going to be a long meal. You like to have meals for 2-3 hours. You sit with your friends, you talk, you schmooze, you sing the gunim, divrei Torah, you fabrein. It's a long time.
Right.
So it's not called the altar. Before the meal, I'm preparing all the foods, you're making all the different vegetables and the salads, and you're being boider, oichel mitoich hapseiles, but I'm not going to be eating it now for another 3 hours. Says no. Since you did it samach to the beginning of the soda, that's good enough. You don't have to get up in the middle of your meal constantly to prepare your food. Before the meal is the normal way, you prepare everything you need for the meal. You don't have to keep on getting up again. For the entire meal you could be boider. Even the meal will take a while. Now he goes on for not only allowed to do boider for yourself, but you're allowed to do boider, meaning oichel miteich hapseiles, for all your guests that are eating with you. Your family members, your guests. You don't have to only do for yourself. Not everyone has to prepare their own salad. Do for everyone. Now, what happens if you have leftovers after the meal? You have leftover salad. And You weren't planning on having leftovers, but you had leftovers. So what? This leftovers is going to stay for another meal later on, maybe for tomorrow, maybe for Shalosh Shudas, we'll have a Malka. And here, I wasn't Bayir La'alter, because it's going to be for later. He says, Im nishtayim beirosei ala achas suda. If there is remainders till after the meal, Ein bekach klum. There's no issue with it. Kivin shabir beheter, since you did it beheter. You did it when you weren't planning on saving this for another meal. You were planning on making this for this meal. Just not everyone ate everything. There was leftovers. However, only if you're not making a trick. If you're trying to make a trick and claim you're making it for this meal, really you're having in mind I'm making extra for the next meal, that's awesome. You're only allowed to make enough for this meal. You had extra.
Even if you know that you're going to make more than you need. I mean, when you're making, because you haven't guessed, so you're making a whole bunch of food.
Yeah, but if you make clearly extra, there's going to be extra, that's a problem. But Vachli Yayim is exactly you can't make a harama. You have to make only for the Suda. Even with Achirim, for everyone you need for this meal. But if you're planning, you had 20 people, and you made enough food for 25 people,
you don't know exactly
clear.
what you're making.
Okay, so you try your best. If you need to make extra,
because you mind to have for later on. It's Shachis and you do it for Shabbos.
That's the problem. But if you're having in mind this meal, so you made extra because you think someone might need food or people might need more. Okay, so that's what you need for this meal. But if then they left over, there's no problem. But l'chatchila to make for this meal extra, not allowed.
You know, this is answer. It's answering the question that I had for a lot of years. You know, I used to have a lot of people. And at night, a few boys from Chaim Berlin used to come. My wife used to make them pick a lot for leftover. And every time, 4 or 5 guys, each one get pick a lot.
What we do
here, leftovers. So every time we have leftovers.
Probably that's very similar to how we cook on Yontif, because we don't cook for the next day. On Yontif, we cook for that meal.
They have a problem.
But they're allowed to be mine.
But you're allowed to do it.
Allowed to make extra.
They have a problem.
Yontif is much more kulas, much more leniencies with Bayr. Bayr is much more leniencies when it comes to... Since you're allowed to cook on Yontif, you're allowed to bake on Yontif, you're allowed to do Bayr. There's only certain forms of Bayr are also. Yontif has different dinim of Bayr than that's the Misham, much more lenient. You're allowed to... when you choose Oichel take Psailas, there's no Chiv Dafka take Oichel. You take whatever is less Tircha. By Yontif, there's no real Isser Bayr. Just like you're allowed to cook on Yom Tif, you're allowed to do anything necessary for food on Yom Tif, oichol nefesh.
But just not mali.
So you're allowed to do it, but you're not allowed to use the keli. That you're not allowed to do because that's like you're preparing for the next day, and you're not allowed to do large amounts of bayr. But when it comes to the Yom Tif, whichever one is less tircha, you're allowed to take the psoilus. It's very different. We're much more lenient when it comes to Yom Tov. Now, Siv Dalad. Ein isim shem bayr al bayr p'soilus ma'oichel lahafich. There's only an isser when you have psoilus, you're taking psoilus from oichel, or you're taking oichel from psoilus and you're not doing it right away. Good from bad, bad from good. Only when you have a mixture of good and bad. Good parts of the food and bad parts of the food. However, what happens if I have a bunch of apples and I want to have the bigger apple and not the smaller apple? So I move aside the small apple because I want to get the bigger apple. I take all the small ones, I put them on the side. The small ones I'm not interested. Is that bayr? Even if you don't want to eat it at all, I'm going to eat it tomorrow. I take out all the small apples, I put them away for tomorrow. I want to put on my meal only the big apples. So I'm going to assort and be bayr and make an assortments of piles, whatever I want. Or, you know. Ela echad mehem, you want to only eat one of them. Vasheni, the other one, noitlib, is like you're going to take it and throw it out. Eini nikah psoilus v'shakach. It's not called psoilus. It's not psoilus, food. Hayil v'hurai l'achilas and s'vroi to eat. The fichach mutter liver oise mitoich oichel shechavtzlecha. You're allowed to take it out from the food that you want to eat. The aim is of a shumbayr p'saldechem. It's not considered p'saldechem.
You just asked me, like somebody...
but we're going to see it's not so pashut. We're going to see in Sifhei, it's not. This is only when they're all apples, they're all oranges. But if it's apple and orange,
It's a problem.
It's going to be a problem.
My salad.
You just asked me.
Right now.
No, salad.
Salad's right now.
What's up?
What are you going to do? We have lettuce, let's say. Lettuce has on the outside of lettuce, you have the outer leaves, which people don't want to eat the outer leaves. They're like dirty.
Well, they're spoiled sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes they're a little bit dirty or spoiled. So people remove the outer leaves of lettuce, and then they want to cut the lettuce inside. What's the halacha? If it's not right to eat, what happens if it is an oichel? It's not pesoilus, but it's an oichel sheroi lachay de'et chak. That if you would have no food, you would eat it. But it's not really what you really want to eat.
It's not food and food.
So it's in the middle.
Okay.
Beinani, yeah, mamutza. Afa pisheni nikra pesoilus gamor, even though it's not called actual pesoilus. The ain is a bit also min hatoira. It's not considered an isabayra min hatoira. Mikol makim still no also medivrei soifrim k'may pesoilus gamor. Midrabanan, Chachamim said it's also like pesoilus gamor. V'lechein therefore, aser lahasir ha'olun ha'mopashim min hayarik. You're not allowed to take off
the
bad leaves from the salatin, the lettuce. Even if they're right to eat, meaning when you're in a doichik, you would eat it. You're in a situation you don't have, maybe you would eat some of those side leaves, but generally you throw them out.
If you have the salad, somebody doesn't like tomatoes, you move the tomatoes, it's a borah.
So that will say in hay. But now that's talking about where everything is good. Here we're talking about where something is considered psoilus. It's in the middle. Take out the good from the leaves. Now I want to say like this. Pshat this Alter Rebbe in the Shulchan Aruch here, which comes from the Magen Avraham, this halacha, that like the salat, the lettuce leaves are like psoilus. It's a oichol idea chak. It's not psoilus gama, not total psoilus. L'chora, what he means over here is not when it's on the stem. He means when there's a pile, not when it's attached. When it's attached, just like you eat an orange and you eat an apple and a banana, you take away the peels, or eat an egg on Shabbos, it's all mutter. L'chora, this is like a peel. L'chora pshat over here is l'hasal bashim, meaning it's already taken apart. It's already taken off. And there's a pile over here. And you don't want these pieces. Yeah, or it's already cut. Whatever, it's cut, not cut. That's l'chora what it means. So now over here, by the way, he gives more of the clear shear. What does it mean by alter? Before we said right before the meal. What does it mean right before the meal? What's the shear exactly? 10 minutes, 50 minutes? So there is no shear on the clock. But we have here the shear. Tzarech lizar. Ad la'acher yitziyah mebeis hakneses shesamach l'suda mamish. We should only be boyer after people leave shul, because that's when you're going towards the meal. Then you're allowed to make boyer for everything you can eat an entire meal. Even the meal is going to be for a few hours. It's good. Meaning like this: the people are preparing the meal. Whoever's preparing the meal knows that now people left the shul. And they're going to be coming home, and they want the meal to be ready, so you can start doing bayra. What happens if you live right next door to the shul? So it's not going to be any time. No, it's not a gezeirat hakasuv, not gezeirat hakasuv. You have to wait till they leave the shul. And what happens if the shul's far away? She doesn't know when they're leaving the shul. It means is the general time that people start to prepare a meal. When do people set a table? When do they start getting the salads ready? Everything ready. In general, you know, shul is finishing, people are coming out soon, so whatever the time is, it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour, whatever the shear is, how much time you need. B'kitzur, how much time you need. You shouldn't be doing this an hour too early and then I'm going to go read my books, relax, take a nap. No. You know that it's necessary now because people are going to be coming. So whatever you're doing, you're getting ready to meal. Now is the time. That's called altar. If you're having a real big, a sheva brachas, you're having a big fabeng and you're being machlis a lot of orchim, so you can have a big meal. So you need an hour's time, so you take an hour's time. Whatever is necessary, but it should be samud to the suda, not that was earlier. Now, Sif Hey is an important Sif. Earlier we said, in the beginning of Sif Dalid, that Oichel mitoich, Oichel is okay. We know Psoilus from Oichel from Psoilus is problematic. Psoilus from Oichel is always problematic. Oichel mitoich Psoilus is not always problematic. If it's done la'alter without a keli, it's mutter. But there can be issues with either way. Such a type of mixture. A tarayvis, a mixture of Oichel and Psoilus, can be problematic, can be bayra issues. As well, we see midrabanan. If you have a Oichel ayideh hatchak, like these leaves, olun hamu pashim, they're not totally, it's not total psoilus, it's not a peel. It's just people don't like eating it. It's a little dirty, it's shmutzig, it's not so good on the outer. You don't want to eat it. So that is asur midrabanan only. It's only asur midrabanan. Because it's not total psoilus, because sometimes you will eat it. However, we said oichel mitoich oichel, fruit from food is 100% mutter. Even if you take away, you take what you don't want to eat, and you throw it away. I'm never going to eat it. It's not still in all you're allowed to. However, you have to read Sif Hey before you rely on that halacha. It's only when it's all one group, when it's all one species. Then you're allowed to. It's all apples, it's all oranges, all bananas. Then or all one type of fish, you could choose which ones you like, which ones you don't like. And it's a bigger piece, a smaller piece, it looks better. Then you could choose. It's a chiddush. If it's not a chiddush in halacha, it's a chiddush of people in Bayer don't chapsach this din. You have two types of foods, oranges and apples mixed together. It's a whole big pile, a whole basket full of oranges and apples. You want to eat one of them right away. To leave the second one for later. The one that you want to eat right now is called oichel. The second one that you don't want to eat now, chashub psoilus. It's not psoilus. It's considered psoilus. Chashub psoilus. Because you don't want to eat it now. Therefore, what should you do? You have to take out dafka what you want to eat from what you don't want to eat. And not the opposite. Don't take what you don't want to eat. This is not midrabanan. This is min ha'torah. The word chayev refers to min ha'torah. You're a chayev achatos. You're chayev min ha'torah if you do this. Meaning a practical situation. You have oranges and apples together. It's in a whole pile, a mixture. It's mu'ravim. I want to eat the apples now. I don't want the oranges. I want to serve apples now. So if I take out the oranges, take away an orange, take all that, I have a big pile here on the table, remove all the oranges, and now I have all my apples that I want. So it's also because I'm taking what I don't want, it's called p'soilus, that's good. I have to take out the oranges because that's the oichel metoich p'soilus. The apple, I mean, yeah. Now, by the way, the Alter Rebbe holds, I mean, and the Magen Avraham, other places can hold that min echad, one group, is not a problem. The Taz, one of the big poskim, holds even in 1 minute's a problem. He says no, dafke in 1 minute the shaila boiter. Not only in 2 minutes, but he says for sure in 1 minute's a problem. Even by 2, he switches around the table. We look at it that only by 1 minute there's no issue. By 2 minutes there's an issue. He says basically the svar is up, the logic is up. When do you find bayr? Bayr is when things are very similar to each other and it's hard to separate. When it's easily discernible, it's very clear, it's not bayr. So he says, when they're both the same, then it's really an issue of bayr. Because they're both apples. So you're mamash looking carefully, choosing what apple, you're choosing your esrig, you're choosing your apple one for another. So then it's called bayr. L'maisa, the Taz Shita is not the halacha. There were certain poskim that said that, toiv, if you could, to be choishish for the Taz. But L'maisa, the halacha is not like the Taz, and if it's 1 min, it's okay. The question comes, what does it mean 1 min? The Pri Megadim says, what about apples? You have sweet apples and sour apples.
All kinds of apples.
All right, there's all different types. And what about different colors? The different colors make it a different min. And this becomes a shaila. How do we? And whole wheat challah and regular
The
wheat.
same family. So I don't think any problem there.
L'chora is a problem, but l'chora is a problem. The whole wheat and the.
Maybe choshesh like the Taz then.
No, even without the taz, it's l'chora 2 minim. It has a status of 2 minim. It basically, the way the Poskim say, it's very unclear. A lot of things in Bayar are very unclear. They're not so defined in Shulchan Aruch. Not so defined. But anything which has a different taste to it, or it has a different name to it, it's called a different name. The scientists, the store, it's given a different name. It's considered a different min. Or it has a different taste.
You mean a different genus?
But if you have two of the same chalas, one's a medium, one's a large and a small, but they're all the same. They're all from regular flour, all from whole wheat. Then you can choose which one you like. You could, if you don't want the big ones, you could push aside the big ones, even though you're taking away the psoilus from the oichel. All red apples, let's say, all the same type of apples, you could do the same.
Does that have to be ma'uriv, or if it's on the same table?
If it's only if it's ma'uriv, it's a problem. If they're mixed, if they're separate, there's never a shaila bayra. Even if it's oichel and psoilus mamish, if they're not mixed. The whole concept of bayr only comes about when you have a mixture. When there's no mixture, there's no problem. There becomes a shayla sometimes. Is it a mixture? Is it not a mixture? You can sometimes, do we look at it as a mixture? Is it mixed? Is it not mixed? If they're enough spread apart, they're not mixed to consider mixed, not considered muravim, there's no shayla b'chal bayr. No dini bayr apply.
There are braided challahs. Would you have either pumpernickel or with holy, then you have the regular. So if you take away the white and you want it, that's whole vira.
If you take what you don't want to eat,
it's integrated.
You know,
it's how do you call it?
Right, I know. He's saying it's braided. They do one braid is, let's say,
brown,
black, and white.
One white. One with this one.
Right, l'chora there becomes. It all becomes one unit.
One unit.
What do you want to eat? You want to eat a certain part of the challah?
Right. Let's say he wants to take away one part he likes.
So take pushing away white.
So you take away, you eat what you want.
What you want.
And push away
the opposite.
Lav
take away the salad.
Lav dafka.
That's what we're going to talk now about salad.
Lav dafka is a shayla because it could be once it's baked all together, it's considered one min.
One unit.
Shabbos when you make vegetable salad, right? You have all different vegetables. All of a sudden come a guy and say, I don't like onion, I want to take out the onion. Oichel mitoch oichel. Mamish.
No,
but
for him it's psoilus.
To me this is psoilus.
That's psoilus?
To me psoilus. So I have to eat the salad, but don't.
Oh, you're saying if he does it for someone else?
Yeah. The guy next to me like onion. I don't like the onion. Here, take the onion. But to me it's psoilus because I don't like the onion. I want to eat only the...
I remember discussing the point. I think that they're mattered. I think they're mattered if someone else wants to eat it. And a lot of times the children say they want something from the food, or they want to take it out.
So you're feeding the guy. It's like
I think what I remember was the place got mattered. יכול להוציא את הטוב, yeah.
I want to eat only the pickles.
But not take the onion outside. I take the melachfonim and
that's what you want to eat?
They take more than
מותר?
כאילו לעשות את זה ההפך, לא להוציא את הבצל.
ומישהו אחר יאכל את הבצל.
לא, גם אם לא מישהו אחר.
I want to eat only this. I want to eat the cucumber and tomatoes. That's it.
כן, אז אתה יכול להוציא את הקוקמבר ואת הטומטו מהאוניון.
So now, let's get back to the shaila that we had. Let's get back to the shaila
Good from good.
that we had in the beginning. Everyone's asking about eggs, eating eggs, peels. How do you peel it?
All the food that
it's not discussed over here. In this simon, it's not discussed. The ending is simon shin chaf aleph. It talks about the different dinim of toich and grinding and lush and eating different dinim over there on Shabbos. In the ending, there's a sif about it. We don't have it in an Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. It's missing the ending of that simon. We have the simon, we're missing the ending. But the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah, the Shulchan Aruch brings, in the Yerushalmi says it's bayr. If you take off peels, taking off peels considered bayr. However, if you do it right to eat right away, it's mutter.
For example, garlic.
Peels, banana, orange, eggs. You're taking off a peel
in order to eat.
Right away.
It's considered bayr, and therefore you can't do it for later on. you have to la'alter.
So you're not making a fruit salad.
Now, the shaila is, l'chura, what's the heter? Even if the Shulchan Aruch, you're allowed to if you do la'alter, to take off the peeler. But l'chura, when I'm peeling it, I'm taking the psaila. So ain't a chanami, I'm doing a la'alter. So Shulchan Aruch doesn't deal with the explanation. The Shulchan Aruch never, and the poskim, the rishonim that Shulchan Aruch is based on, don't give the reasoning why it's not an issue of psaila techet, which leaves the achronim after the Shulchan Aruch room to discuss as to what is the reasoning behind it, which there can be different applications if you learn different reasons. So we know for sure it's mutter to peel an egg, peel a banana, peel an orange. It's all these things are mutter if you do it right away before the meal, like all the dinner bread. The shaila is, what's the havana? What's the understanding behind this? If you're taking the psalos l'oichel, so one understanding is, I think you were just saying, there's no other way to do it. So if you know other way to doing it, so the Pri Megadim and the Maimer Mardchai, two big poskim, understand that the havana understanding is, if there is no other way to get to the food without taking off the peel, then this is not a derech malacha. It's a derech achila. This is the way you eat. It becomes a derech achila. I just want to point out that it seems from the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Lubavitcher Rebbe, and from a Talmud of the Alter Rebbe, the Divin Nechemia, they didn't understand it this way. They never bring up this other svara that there's no other way, and it seems that they hold that even if there's no other way to get to it, doesn't mean will make something mutter just because there's no other way. So maybe you shouldn't eat it Shabbos. Who said that? Just because you can't get to it any other way doesn't make it mutter. What could be the svara to matter? It's not clear, but they say like this. So Tzedek says, l'chura the heter is l'chura. It's not 100% clear by him, but l'chura the heter is based on a marshal. Reb Shlomo Luria, he was a rebbe of the Ramah, and he wrote in his sefer Chachma Shleima, he wrote a heter about peeling nuts. To peeling a nut on Shabbos. Let's say you want to open up a
pistachio,
pistachio nuts.
Peanut, right? Let's say a peanut. Pistachios, yeah. You want to open up the peanut. So he says like this. That Kol's man, the entire time that the peanut is in the shell, whether the shell is complete, it's still complete, or whether the shell is broken and only part of the peanut is in the shell. Miktsasei kulai, it's not yet considered pesailus. The shell is still a part of the pri, it's a shomer lepri. Now it's protecting the fruit. It's not here as a thing for itself. It's like the halacha of min echad. Just like we say in min echad, if it's all apples, you're allowed to do what you want, big ones, small ones, choose what you like. Or all oranges, or all the same type of fish. You could choose which one you like and push away what you can push away what you don't like. There's no concept of psoilus. He says when they're still attached, this is the way it was naturally created by Hashem. This is the way it's made. It's not yet considered psoilus. It's only after the peel, it's totally separated from the fruit, from the nut or the pri, and they're both in a pile now. Now, if I take away the shells, I'm taking away psoilus from Eichel Nat's Beirer. And I have to take away the nuts and the fruit and not the shells, the peels. But while you have the peel on it, it's like 1 minute. So this is what they bring up, this Maharshal, the Shlomo Luria, to explain maybe why peeling is mutter. Although although there's different, it's not so clear. Lamaisa, the Shaila came up that Tzemach Tzedek is discussing herring. Herring, the bones in herring. You know, when you're eating chicken or a big piece of fish, so it's easier to deal with the bones. Why? You put your knife on the bone, you hold the bone, and you pull the chicken or the meat to you. Mm-hmm. So you're taking the oichel from the psilus. However, when you deal with the herring, now it's not as common. The way they make the herring today, it's all clean and nice for you. But you know, years ago, all of you should remember, by all the Kedushim years ago, they used to serve the herring You know, it wasn't thin slices. It was like peeled over. It was bigger pieces. I think you still buy in the jars that way, maybe. And it has little tiny bones. So some people eat them bones also, but people want to take. So taking that, it's not really possible. You can't really hold on to the bones, and you have to pull out the bones. There's no other way. It's not like the chicken where the bones are big pieces, and they're little tiny pieces. So he says, this mahashal that says that the nuts, the peels of the nuts, the shells are not a problem, because kolzman, the nut is in the shell. It's considered one mitzias, and it doesn't have a status of psilus. The same thing he says l'chora could apply by the herring, because the bones are part of the fish. They never separated. Once they're separated, you have that sameis and the dogim separate, and they're in a pile mixed together. Yes, you have to take the dogim and not that sameis, because then it's going to be bayir psilus me'oichel if you take the bones. But when the bones are still part of it, it's all part of it. You could pick out whichever you want. But the Tzemach Tzedek, he says you can only do this when you have no other choice. If you have no other way, you can do this. And he also doesn't want to rely only on the sheet of the Mashal himself. He adds in what Rabbi Azar was saying earlier, that there is an opinion in Rishonim that holds that you're allowed to take psilus from Eichel. It's not brought in Shulchan Aruch at all. It's not even brought in the Beis Yosef, not brought at all, but there is an opinion in Rishonim that hold, the Rashba and the Sefer Machriya, that they hold that you're allowed to take psilus from Eichel as long as you eat it right away. It doesn't matter what you take, which one. It's not considered a mainstream shita, but the Tzemach Tzedek says, together with that shita, and he says the herring in a way is even better than the nuts, because the nuts, the shells are like big and they stick out. The herring pieces are like totally inside the fish. You don't even see it. So it's balua. So it's really like one mass. It's all one part of the. It's really one part of the food. Really oich b'tech eichel. So that's the way. So that's herring. If you have no, the same thing with watermelon. If you have no choice, watermelon. If you have no other choice, so also a person can remove.
What do we do with watermelon, Taki?
Spit the seeds.
So a lot of people do is they spit the seeds out.
No, I'm saying when you cut the watermelon, right? What you do? You take away
people
the clipper, or you take away the food? Which way?
People take away pick out the watermelon.
What about cantaloupe? You're saying cantaloupe.
Well, cantaloupe, let's say for example, right? You open up the cantaloupe.
The whole inside you want to take out.
Yeah, because
So you have to take it out. You have no other choice. You have to take it out.
I need the peel.
You scoop out the seeds, but they're all together.
Only thing I could say is that maybe it's better. I don't know. I don't think it's going to help really. Would you take turn it over and shake it out? Would it all come out or no?
No.
You have to stick your hand and take it out.
It's almost
this is
like
the same herring.
Like a banana.
We're relying.
Yeah,
we're relying on the same heter as Tzemach Tzedek is for herring. Where you're relying on it, the same thing like the peel.
It's a clip of pnim and a clip of chitzeni.
Yeah, it's al derech this.
Now watermelon, it's
The herring. By the way, Tzemach Tzedek.
What is this side?
We don't know. The reasons here are not clear. The reasons why Kalipas, Pedis, and Yerakis is mutter is not clear. Right? So by herring, the Tzemach Tzedek doesn't just say, oh, herring, the bones in the herring are the same as peels, and therefore it's mutter. Because we don't know when you don't know the reasons behind the halacha, you can't decide halacha. Unless it's exactly the same.
Right.
If it's a peel, banana peels, eggshells, peels you could say are mutter. But herring is not a peel; it's bones in it.
It's part of
so
the
Tzemach Tzedek is not comfortable in just saying this is the same thing as mekalif, same thing as peels, and mir matter it. Because if you don't know the reason, it has to be exactly the same to matter. It's not the same. So he doesn't want to be matter based on similarity because it's not similar. So you have to go to the understanding, and the understanding. It's not so clear. So therefore, l'maisa, if you don't have any other choice, there's no other way to do it. We're matter it because of this ma'ashal, and because of the that there are shitas that hold that you're allowed to take the psilus from the oichel. So
maybe that's why we eat gefilte fish.
But only by the way, only if it's done la'alter right away. And l'maisa legabe the gefilte fish. So it says the Beis Halevi, the father of Chaim Soloveitchik, could be a Shabbos Soloveitchik. He said that in Echanami, that's why Klal Yisrael had ate gefilte fish, because they had all the issues of bones. Because they're herring, because even a regular fish have bones in it. Shiloh supporters, so they made gefilte fish.
What's gefilte mean?
Some say it was cheaper. It was cheaper food. It's not like you're buying a piece of salmon, you know.
What's gefilte mean in Yiddish?
It's filled.
It's made from the...
Filled.
You know,
It's filled up with, it's the whole
all
mix.
kinds of stuff.
Whatever left over, they put together.
Oh, sugar and some kind of cream.
Square.
You probably should eat fish without bones. That should be that's the better
That's
way.
the idea.
Listen, so
So you want to be machal?
it doesn't say in Shulchan Aruch that you have to eat gefilte fish, right? Many people gefilte fish, but and it also doesn't say that you don't have to eat the herring. You're allowed to eat the herring. We don't say, oh, be machmer,
Right.
don't eat the herring. We don't say that b'dinei boyer.
Right.
So some poskim will say with the mahalich, if their understanding is that the reason why peels are mutter because there's no other way to get to it. So if you learn that way, also you could tie the herring. There's no other way to eat it without taking the bones. It's also mutter. If there's no other way to eat the cantaloupe without removing the seeds, so you have to take out the seeds. If you go with the other shita, the svar is a little different. The shar is because this is all was naturally. This is the way it is. It grows, and until it's separated, it's not considered pesilas. What will be the nafkimina? What will be the difference between these two svaras? There could be one direct svara is that, which we don't rely on this, is that loita marashal, his svara that it's when it's all grows that way, it doesn't yet have the status of psilas. It's not bechlal called psilas. The other sheet of the Mayim Martz from the Pri Megadim is the reason why peeling is mutter because it's efsher to get to it. So in a chanami it's psilas, but over here it's derech achila, so it's mutter. However, the other sheet of the mashal is not bechlal called psilas. It doesn't get called psilas till it's removed and separated from the fruit. So l'maisa, the mashal shita seemingly would be matter if you look at it like min echad. The halacha by min echad, there's no bayra at all. We don't hold like the taz. There's no bayra at all, which seemingly means you're allowed to do it even for a few hours later. You don't have to do it la'alter, and maybe you could even do it with a keli if you go with the mashal. If you go with the Pri Megadim Ma'amartchei's understanding, no, it has to be la'alter. Well, l'maisa, we don't rely ad kedei kach to do things not la'alter. Even if you're eating herring or cantaloupe, or maybe watermelon. Watermelon really gets into another situation, because watermelon, really, you could put into your mouth if you spit it out. The question, is that normal? It's not a nice way of eating, to spit out. So, do we allow it to say that this is
and also it's not soil. Some people eat it, the pits.
Right, but let's say you don't eat it.
So it's like we said before, I don't want to eat
There's
the
no
onion.
pshat, we don't...
No, maybe it means you're taking good from the bad. Maybe they say you're taking the bad by spitting it out. You eat the good.
Yeah, there's no problem spitting out.
So, but
The halacha is a problem spitting out. The question is, if we're mechayev you, do we obligate you to spit it out? Or do we allow you, relying on the marshal shita, just like herring, we allow you to pull out? If a child, let's say, wants you to eat a piece of watermelon, the child wants to eat the watermelon.
And he doesn't want to eat the pit. He
Right.
want to go out and take out the pit.
But is that
So
ma'us?
it's not soil.
To spill it?
Oh, so
Somebody
it could be
sitting there-
Yucataina, it's mos,
Yeah.
it's not nice, it's not an
Not
all waiting,
nice.
so therefore,
Right,
that's
right,
not
you
considered
should
an option.
Right.
If it's not an option,
It's not soil.
it's not,
if I take out a bad apple that I don't like from an apple that I like, I'm in apple. So that it could be even not allowed.
a bad apple means what? It's not
that I
right.
don't like.
Oh, you don't like, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not bad apple.
So it could be even not altered with a kli, like a chila.
It doesn't have to be the altar clear in the altar Rebbe. The Pri Megadim is chayker. He has a discussion whether or not a keli could be used in min echad. And the Tehillah David says, I don't understand why not. If it's all one min, there's no biter, so do it with a keli also.
And this whole word min echad, you're saying it's only if they're both medical and I just don't want it, or
Yeah.
if it's rotten, it's already not min echad.
If it's rotten already, it's not. It's already. It could be midrabanan. It's midrabanan the shaila. Well,